Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Sonic Talk, episode 768, recording today on the 23rd of August 2023. This is a music technology podcast where we're going to be talking about, well, we've got a bunch of topics. It's not the kind of summer drought that we've become used to, where we feel the sort of existential pressure of having to fill all of this dead air with nothing to talk about. But fortunately, we've got a set of consummate professionals to help us through that anyway, so that's fine. But before we go there, I just want to say hello to everybody in the chats, the IRC. Thanks again to Wagyu, obviously, for his moderation and also the code stuff. And I see James Glue, I don't know what I should call him, James Glue. He's playing at our Sonic EMOM, which is going to be coming up on the 8th of September. So if you actually want to watch the live stream, that will be coming up Friday the 8th of September from about 7 p.m. UK time. But if you want to go in person, head over there. It's actually, we've got... I think, have I got, let me just see, I think I can press a button and it should, yeah, EMOM, if you want tickets, bit.ly/Sonic EMOM 3, still got some tickets left. There are numbers limited and we've got some great plans for this, including some new projections, all kinds of good stuff. So do stick around for that. And of course, if you want to support us in other ways, we've also got Patreon. Why not consider joining us on Patreon? We've got a whole bunch of stuff there. We've been posting recently loads of free samples, actually, MIDI-era processed, all in decent sampler. That's for our upper tier level. We've got some extras from the Unisynth Pro with including patches as well. There's all of the stuff that we post to YouTube, which is ad-free, and we have Sonic Talk ad-free and pre-show as well. So if you want to join us, pick your tier, and in fact, you could choose just to say thanks, $2 a month, but you still get the ad-free stuff. If you join us at the higher level, you get all of the new stuff, but you also get your name in credits at the end of the Sonic Talk. So if you're considering joining us, much appreciated. If you already do support us, that's fantastic. Thanks very much. Back to the show, I should have said. I went early. That was my pre-record anyway. I had to update it because we've just been... I don't know if you've tried Decent Sampler. It's actually really good. It's it works on iOS, it works on Windows, and it works on OS X. And I think it works on Linux as well. So, and you just literally edit XML files so you can create a user... UI elements, sample key groups, all kinds of stuff. There's effects and build your own UI. And we're starting to really kind of, I'm looking into that, and I think there's going to be, hopefully we'll do a few more of those, and it's completely free as well. So the way that it seems to monetize, if you look for Decent Sampler, you can buy, I think they use it on Piano Book, so you can buy sample packs. I think Venus Theory does them, but he does all sorts of fancy UIs and stuff. It's a great free way of getting samples out there without actually having to outlay if you're also a creator, and you can get some good stuff going on. So yeah, just wanted to say, well worth checking out. So let's say hello to our guests. We'll start let's start with Mr. Yoad Nevo, who is there in Nevo Sound, his studio, where he masterminds the controls of his Atmos mixing room, as well as production, and well, no longer actually an official Waves employee, now freelance, and a consultant you should probably have a word with if you're looking for strategy in that area. How are you, Yoad? You well?
Very well, thanks. I like the way you describe me.
Well, you know, it was all off the cuff. I mean, you know, you're lucky it went well, frankly, but, you know.
Yeah, sounds good to me, albeit. Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Like I said, Atmosing away and enjoying it. Still doing some stereo mixes as well, which is fun. I mean, the difference is amazing. I have a macro that changes the monitoring from 714 to 2.0 to stereo, and every time I hit it, it's just amazing how dull and kind of narrow and single dimensional it sounds after hearing the nice Atmos mix. But yeah. Still enjoying it.
So you created a macro that basically auto down mixes. So you just kind of go.
It goes to the Dolby Atmos renderer and selects the appropriate. So I have a 5.1, 7.12, and 2. So I press those three. You know, the three mods and 2, 5, or 7 respectively, and then it's kind of because otherwise you have to go to the menu, and it beats the whole point of being able to A/B. Because you're looking at the screen and all that, and so while I'm still in Logic, it will switch to Dolby Atmos, to the Dolby renderer, flip the desired menu selection, and bring me back to Logic. So it's kind of transparent.
Nice.
Yeah, I use Keyboard Maestro. I think I mentioned it. It's so good. You can I do so much with it, and saves a lot of time, especially when you have a lot of renaming for sample libraries and things like that, like when you have to rename thousands of files and whatever. It's really good. You can write really complicated scripts and have a wait state, so it waits to another function to end before it does the next one, and repeats and conditions. Really, really good program.
That really suits because I do a lot of that sort of stuff myself. I mean, I was just saying, because I was saying about Decent Sampler, one of the things that's really difficult is you've got to write all the key groups. And now I've just written a spread, because, with Google Sheets, you could do things where you can take one cell and then add a load of text to it. So I just basically select all the files in a folder, paste them into a spreadsheet, and then it basically writes all the key group text that you just cut and paste and bring straight in. So all that stuff is really cool, actually. It's nice. I don't know. I get the feeling that we all enjoy a bit of automation secretly, don't we? I mean, it's nice. Gaz, have you got any big automation buttons you like to press once in a while that completely change everything, or is it more of a kind of template-based existence?
Oof. God. Well, it's interesting. Hello, everybody, by the way.
Yes, sorry. May I introduce... Hold on, rewind. We also want to introduce Gaz Williams, who is a music technologist and mastering engineer and live player and all of those things, and probably a live streamer. I don't know if he's doing a live stream tonight, but if not, Gaz Williams on the tubes. Yes. Yeah.
It's really interesting. I'm really interested to look at that. I am making a sample library at the moment, so I'm going to be, and in fact, anything that takes out the sort of the tedious bit, the fun bit, is sound creation. So all the kind of the boring bits, anything that can kind of help with that, I'm all ears. But there was something. A few things. And last time I was on a couple of weeks ago, I was mentioning about the mix challenge that's going on. Mix.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Challenge. It's final submission tomorrow, but there's nearly 60 mixes have been submitted so far, and with a few more expected.
Wow, so what's that? That's 6 times 5 minutes, 300 minutes. 300 minutes to judge. So didn't think about that one really, didn't you, when you entered that? There you go. That's one of the downsides. I'm sure it'll be all pleasurable, of course, but
and one of the interesting things there is people are outlining what they do to the mixes in terms of listing all of the processes or plugins that they use. So it is quite an interesting thing. And I think that most months they have a different sort of challenge. So I urge people to check that out if you're interested in, maybe, exploring more mix kind of opportunities and stuff. I think what people really enjoyed about this month's one was it was kind of a full-on prog rock tune with lots of multiple bits,
live instruments,
live instruments. Yeah, so I think for some people, and they say so in the comments, that was the first time that they've ever actually, had material like that to work with. So I think it's, I think this is a really good thing, and it seems pretty. There's a lot of people piling with help and advice as well. So, well worth checking out, I think. But I'm quite excited. About it.
I know. I forget the name of the chap, but he always posts in our Discord. Actually, if you want to check that out on the Discord.
Roland.
So there's usually some information about the latest one and the deadline. So do check that out.
Brilliant.
Well, lovely to have you though, Gaz. A pleasure as ever. And also we have Paulee or Magical Synth Adventure, or AKA V-Synth Specialist, who's you've posted your sort of homage to the V-Synth video, which for some reason I didn't line up as a play. I'm maxed out on videos. I haven't got a button for it.
That's okay.
I can thoroughly recommend. It's going down well. Yeah. You do need a higher quality camera, though, if I do say so myself. You just need
definitely. I'm going to, obviously, I've really, come up against quite a learning curve, essentially, because I'm good with audio, but with video, I really need to kind of up my game a little bit. But that's okay. I can work it out. It's another shopping list, isn't it? It's another nice, fun research shopping list kind of activity. So I'll probably get like a 4K camera and then
just cheap body Sigma lens. That's the one, isn't it, Nick?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Just
really
to
cool.
spend the money on the glass. So Sony A6000, possibly something like that, or A6400, and a Sigma lens.
Really good.
Then you'll get. We're both on Sigma lenses here. Ta-da! Ta-da! Which is why there's all the sort of background and as well. Yoad's on a GoPro because. I think, is it just because it's much easier to set up rather than, is it literally easy?
That's my webcam. So that's what I use for my, Teams and Zoom calls and stuff. And it's just easy and it's just there. And also because I have LCR speakers, I can't have something too bulky in front of my center speaker. So that's quite nimble and, it just does the job. And like Paulee said, I'm not a video guy, I'm an audio guy. So the video, and actually it's kind of emphasizing this, which I'm, happy about, because I never got into the video world and I always managed to stay away from it. And I'm happy with that.
Well, it's a journey that will be.
Yeah. In terms of automation, Nick, I use a multi-sample builder called Polyphone, and it's free. And the thing I like about it is it's got, and I'm sure other free kind of samplers have this. It has kind of free kind of pitch detection or frequency detection of whatever your notes are. And it's got a really good seamless looper as well. You pop 2 points and then it'll automatically do quite a good loop. So it's definitely quite a world away from the old 80s and 90s world of having to, find your zero crossings. That's my favorite for building multi-samples.
I can understand that. Well, I would also point out a shout out for Logic, actually, which has a really good auto sampler function in it. I think they bought Sample Robot. Was it Sample Robot back in the day? And they've incorporated that. So you can say how many velocity layers you want, what the velocity of each layer is, what the different, what the key spans are, whether you're doing round robin, whether, there's and it'll just go bunk, bunk, and then spit it into a ESS 24 inch.
Wild.
It's pretty powerful. There are other things that, do it, but if you've already got Logic, you don't need to go too much further than that. I mean, obviously that's macro.
That makes sense.
So, it's worth a go.
Hey, Nick,
okay. Well, yes, Gaz.
Can we just say though, actually, with Paulee, yourself, and me, we were all in the Bad Gear roast, weren't we, last Friday?
Oh, yeah,
indeed.
Excellent. Which,
that was something, wasn't it?
What a great video, wasn't it?
Wow.
Yeah,
I loved your multi-instrument off with Alex Ball, and he just when you started playing the bass, then it was just like banjo, cello.
He smoked me. I was done up like a kipper there, Alex Ball. I mean, how could you compete with him? So I'd gladly take second place on that one.
That bass lick was really lovely, Gaz. That bass lick was brilliant.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. That was my.
Was it a one-take job?
No, it was about 5 or 6 takes. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, I was actually on my way back here to shoot. I had a bit more time to shoot. It was when I came off the scooter. I was literally on my way back, so I couldn't do it. I broke my wrist, and I said, "I'm really sorry, Florian. I broke my wrist. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it." And then I thought, actually, I could probably do it. And then, because the idea, everybody was doing these sort of comedic pieces, and I just realised that really is not my bag. And I felt a little bit uncomfortable with trying to do some sort of scripted comedy. So that was the best I could do. So I just, but I'm in it at the end, just a little bit. Everybody else has a much better
star
role,
of the show.
Well, I don't know about that. I think Bad Gear is the star of the show, followed by Gaz, and then and Alex Ball and all the other people that are involved. It's brilliant. I thought it was really good.
So
Yes. Okay. Well, let's get into topics world. I'm wondering whether this might tie in nicely. If we start with this one, then we can talk, because there's also Yoad's got some fantastic news as well, which we could share. Maybe we could sort of tie them in, just because I don't know if it's not similar, but it's DSP, I suppose. So yeah, here we go.
I want to say this is the hardware. Oh! Let me show you how you can now use the ControlHub Tracer to capture your own signal chains and use them within ControlHub. I have this drum mix that I think sounds good, but it's lacking punch and clarity. So I ran the drum mix through a hardware chain that I really love. Here's a quick before and after.
I honestly can't tell the difference between those two. I don't know whether it's me. And I listened on my monitors as well. And it's like, there's such a microscopic amount. But anyway, I'm sure he's got golden ears. But this is interesting. I mean, this company, they've built a kind of library of preset plugins, which is in ControlHub, which is just sort of, they'd be getting sort of names, producers, whatever, to kind of set up presets, as I understand it. And what they're now introducing is the ability to, I'm guessing it's probably the ability to take a convolution in the way that Kemper works, where you put a certain tone through it, and then you've got that kind of signal chain. I don't know what kind of level of control you're likely to get, maybe a blend. I mean, I don't know what else, but it's an interesting idea, and there's going to be a sort of marketplace for it. And that the concept seems actually pretty cool. I mean, it's a subscription thing, but I guess with all of these things being added all the time, that you've got a continuing library. So I suppose there's a whether or not that, but you can actually also buy the thing outright. I think that you start at $15 a month, but you can buy the thing for a couple of $100, but then you will have to sort of add extra packs. I wonder what's different about this compared to, the other things that have come before, I suppose, is that it's all integrated and it's within the plugin, and it seems like it's fairly straightforward. But I don't know. I mean, Gaz, you do a bunch of mastering. I'm guessing something like this might be, say for someone like you who does mastering could go to a more hardware-based mastering studio and take a load of samples of some chains and add them to your arsenal of what you already do. I mean, that, for instance. I mean, obviously, there's many more uses there than this. What do you think?
Yeah, interesting. I thought the presentation of it is really nice. The layout of it, and it's a clever idea. And certainly you mentioned the Kemper there. It seems like that the Kemper approach seems to have filtered into this. But I mean, it certainly brought to mind one of my pieces of gear in my gear graveyard, which is the liquid mix, which I thought was great. But unfortunately, Firewire, and there was issues with it. But one of the things that made the liquid mix interesting was it was dynamic convolution. So they'd put the kind of signal through at all these different at different volumes.
Amplitude levels, right? Okay, that's interesting.
So that's what immediately made me think about this, was whether it's just taking a snapshot at just one kind of setting.
No, well, actually, I mean, I saw the wave that you load the waveform in, and it's like really loud thing, it's tailing down. So there's quite a lot of dynamics in whatever it is that you're sending through it. I don't know what it comprises of. Probably not something you'd want to listen to, but I believe, it's things with transients, I guess, and stuff like that. So that's an idea.
But I have to be honest, though. And certainly when it comes to mastering and the way I work is, I don't want choice. I want to have as limited choice and work within those trusted sort of parameters. And the more choice, the more the more confusing it gets. I like to, I've really narrowed my mastering process down to, very, very simple tools, really. So I mean, that's just me. But I mean, one of the selling points of this, and certainly with it being subscription, which I really don't like subscriptions things, but is the idea more and more choice every month, and it's like, oh no, thank you. Not for me.
That's a fair point.
But it does look really impressive and a nice, and a nice approach to it. Yeah, but yeah. less choice. Yeah,
That's interesting, isn't it, Paulie? I mean, the liquid mix, I mean, that's nearly
Yes.
20 years old now. It must be getting on that, or certainly well over 10 years old. And I guess the resolution of all of these tools that we've got now, I mean, it's kind of useful. But I agree, I hadn't really thought about the tyranny of choice issue. That is quite a valid point.
Because that's the thing, we get used to the tools that we work with, don't we? Like, I've been using the same compressor plugin for about 20 years or something like that, do you know what I mean? Because I know how it reacts to like a kick drum or a bass guitar at certain levels, and I'm like, it's an old freebie called Blockfish that I run in a wrapper, and it just does an amazing thing for me. But
Right.
yeah, I think the preamp bit of it is probably the most interesting thing to me, because equalizers, compressors, limiters, these are things that I'm kind of used to. I'm kind of used to using certain ones, you know. I really like the limiter in iZotope Ozone, for instance. That's like my go-to for limiting. But preamps, that'd be very interesting to try out. You know, imagine if you could plug your microphone in and get like loads of different modeled preamps and things like that. That'd be wonderful.
Well, they're not first to that. I mean, Slate Digital do a lot of that, and I'm sure. You know, Waves probably had something like that, and whatnot.
Yes.
I suppose that I suppose to a degree, Yoad. I mean, this was kind of a route into the news that Clarity VX had got a technical and scientific EMMY, which is kind of a pretty big deal. But before we get to that, that'll be our next topic. What I mean. Is convolution all that hard? I mean, are they doing anything particularly unique, or is it more a question of how they're marketing it? Because it seems maybe that to me, but I don't know.
There is the technical kind of procedure as to how you do it, and Kemper was mentioned. Neural DSP is also one that can capture the chain. Usually, it's associated with guitars. But this plugin seems to work on any content. There are two ways of modeling hardware or hardware chains, for that matter. One is component modeling, where you model the actual components and what they do in the circuit. And then you have full control once you do that, and you do it accurately. And that's a very, very hard and meticulous, process, and which takes a lot of time. But then you can basically do all the tweaks, and everything else will behave very similar to how the hardware will behave. The other way is black box, where you just measure. You send, like you mentioned, you send tones that capture the frequency response, the dynamic response, the non-linear response, which is the harmonic distortion, and all those things. And when you do that, you can get a very accurate representation of the hardware. But when it comes to tweaking it, you have to either use your own. So if you capture the curve, an EQ curve, then you just put a 3-band or a 4-band or whatever it is of your own, an algorithmic one, then you kind of do the offsets. And similar things with dynamics and stuff. You can do that with like you mentioned, with blend or mix. On a kind of multi-band sort of level, so you can have a crossover, and you set up the different mix or balance between the process signal and the originals. So in that way, you can have more control as well. But like Gaz mentioned, it's if you're not looking for a lot of tweaking, then it's a good way of capturing hardware. I mean, I had another idea 15 years ago, and we released the product at Waves, and I have a patent on it, which is real-time convolution. The product is called is called Q-clone. Not many people know it, and a lot of people actually have it because it's part of bundles and stuff, but not many people know what to do with it. But what it does is it sends a sweep every 400 milliseconds and measures and creates a filter in real time. That's what the patent is for, real-time convolution. So you plug it to your favorite EQ, and then when you move the EQ, it creates the curve in real time, basically.
Right.
And then if you want to offset that, you flatten your EQ, and then it's like you kind of overdub. So then you can use the same EQ to do the offset. So you have the same curve. I used to have
it measures the difference effectively, right?
And then I have the Nevo on every, and the thing is, you can put it on a stereo. You can use one because the kind of measuring system, you set it once on a mono channel, and then you can have it on a 5.1 channel or a 7.1 with just tweaking one knob and things like that. So it's always the tweak, because I wanted to create a model EQ based on a Nevo mastering EQ, but I calculated that if I wanted to have 1/4 of dB of steps and all the frequencies, I would have to take 50,000 measurements or 50,000 impulse responses, and then create a table, which is possible. But then the idea came to me, why won't we do it in real time? And that's the patent for. Unfortunately, not many people know about it because it's a hard concept to market. And even now, when I'm explaining it, I'm sure that like only 50% of the viewers understand what I'm talking about. That's the liquid. That's the liquid mix. That came after Q-clone, actually.
Yeah.
I think it had some problems with bouncing in real time because it's a real time streaming, and
was there latency compensation and latency issues? I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was
more. Wasn't it more? I mean, it was more used as an input model, wasn't it? So it was the idea you would model an EQ and an input stage, you put a mic into it, and that was one of the big pluses. But then I suppose if you're mixing and matching and
you could use it in a mix scenario as well. But it was kind of ahead of its time in some ways, and the fact that it was hardware based because it had to have the DSP, because computers like native, computers were not powerful enough and all that. It was an interesting concept.
It's interesting. I just dug this out just to sort of, because what a beautiful piece of industrial design it is, and the controls and the knobs and the screen was really good, and and it's got a wealth of buttons, and the metering was fantastic. There's when was this out? 2007, something like that. Oh, I don't know, maybe around
nearly
2008, maybe, I'm not sure. But if this came out like now, people were like, wow, that's a really amazing piece of kit. So I think this is one of, sorry, I was just soapboxing about this for a moment. Nostalgic. But, once, the dreaded Firewire 400, I remember one time I was downstairs and this was inserted on something. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the problem was, but I just heard this awful noise, like the worst noise you could possibly imagine. And I ran upstairs, and coming out of the speak house was just this horrific noise. I mean, horrific noise. And it was this doing something, just pumping out something revolting. And
it's the Easter egg.
I instantly fell out of love with it because, I mean, luckily I saved my speakers, but I reckon if I was a little bit later, they would have blown my speakers.
Goodness.
And then, it's like that thing, isn't it? When stuff like that happens, it's just like, you just, I don't want to use it anymore, just in case. I don't know why it did that. It wasn't doing anything wrong. It just left.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Sorry, just a little anecdote there.
With this new ControlHub thing, right? Can you am I reading it right? You can capture your chain with like EQ, color dynamics, and compressor, and then can you tweak it afterwards?
I'm not sure. They're it's launched on the 25th of August. They've not been very clear as to whether that is the case. But
the blurb thing has all of the. Can you see?
Yeah, maybe you process it with.
The tweaking is done later with an algorithmic EQ, which is kind of superimposed on the signal. Because it will be,
there we go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where it gets you kind of if you leave it as it is, then it will kind of represent the hardware chain that you were capturing. But if you start tweaking it, then it won't be the same. But sometimes all you need is a little bit more top or high pass filter or something like that.
Yeah, a shelf or something.
Fine.
Yeah, a tilt. Yeah. No. Okay, fair enough. Well, this brings before we get to the next topic, which is also to do with real-time DSP processing. I should probably just have a message from our friends over at iZotope.
Transient shaping sounds complicated, but is it? I wanted to explore this powerful music production technique that sometimes gets forgotten about. With transient shaping, you're able to shape and process your sounds, and there are plenty of situations where you're better off reaching for a transient shaper first, even over EQ and compression. This simple but effective sculpting method is great to keep on hand in your mixing workflow.
iZotope have a whole bunch of excellent tutorials just like this on their YouTube channel. To get a discount on their software tools, go to iZotope.com/Sonictalk and use the code SONIC10 to save 10% at checkout. Once again, we thank them very much for the support of the show. Back to you. Yes, indeed we do. Thank you very much, iZotope, for your continued support. I did actually ask, I've sent a message out to the presenter there to see if she might be up for coming on the show, but I haven't had a response yet. So if anyone knows her, just mention it. And we'll hopefully we can invite her on. Right, okay. So next, sorry, I just realised I hadn't loaded all the new ads in. That should have been a different ad, but it's fine. It's not a problem. Let's just see what our next one is. Gosh, yeah. Well, I know what our next one is. It's this one.
I went in your profile, exotic and so wild. Points ranking up cause your halo was so high. Trolls try to flex, but they stuntin' as hella lies. I send in a drop and make you block all the other guys.
So that's the compelling demo for the Waves Clarity VX, which is a sort of real-time... I don't know the technology fully behind it. It's a real-time noise reduction. It actually won an EMMY for, let me see, it was EMMY in the Engineering, Science and Technology category, and our very own Yoad Nevo worked on that. So congratulations. A little round. I would clap, but I've only got one hand. But we'll just have a little kind of, well done. That must be a great buzz for that, and put it with all the other stuff as well. So first of all, I mean, what's it doing? Because it sounded very impressive. I mean, there's some really compelling... I mean, when you crank it right up, I can just hear something that's slightly different, but it reduces... it just makes the noise go away. It's probably something that we should run on all of our channels here, to be honest. But
and
yeah, great.
Because it's real time, and that's the unique kind of the main sort of. So it's based on it's a neural network based processor, which is AI, if you want to use that forbidden word. So what it does is. We basically threw at it many files. I'm not going to disclose the exact number, but many files of clean, well-recorded audio of vocals, and then a similar number of noisy environments. So there are two networks that work together. One is basically capturing the vocal and trying to match the recorded vocal or the input vocal to the database, and to make out the clean vocal from the messy
Right.
or noisy vocal, and the other network does the same thing to the noise. So with the what you showed here was the Clarity, but the Clarity VX, which is the more pro version, allows you to, so the knob turns in two directions. So one direction will give you only the voice, and the other direction will give you only the noise, without any holes or gaps with it. So it kind of resynthesizes, one resynthesizes the voice and one resynthesizes the noise. So, for post-production and things like that. Obviously, for music, it's easy because it will take out if you record in your bedroom and you have your computer or whatever in the same room, then it will take this noise easily. But it's also it's mainly meant for post-production and kind of more demanding
Right. So
features,
you can separate room tone and then use the room tone alongside.
You can use exactly. For
interesting.
I mean, yeah. So and the team I led at Waves won this product, and that's a great way of kind of ending many years that I worked at Waves and doing over 100 products. And so I'm walking away with a Grammy and an Emmy and 2 patents. And, I had a very unique position at Waves because we carved the way for plugins. We were the first there. With maybe Mac DSP and some kind of and now everyone uses plugins, obviously, and I learned so much, and I did so many exciting worked on so many exciting products. There are still a few products that I've worked on that haven't been released yet, so some exciting
You'll still
things
see those. There may be more Grammys to come then. You never know.
maybe
Or Emmys. It's interesting. Just to clarify, so the Clarity, you can get the sort of the non-pro version, which would you maybe use for clean up vocals. It's like $39, and it seems like I wonder how real time is. Could you use it on an actual live input? I mean, is it essentially is it like using a large language model equivalent that we see with stuff with other AI things? So it's like, the database of that machine learning is effectively a large language model of music, audio plotting of that stuff.
You can say that, but in a way, but it is real time, so you can use it for podcasts and things like that. And now that we have Studio Rec working on OBS, you can actually use it within OBS and do your streaming through that in real time. And that's the whole thing. And that seemed impossible when we started working on this project. It was during COVID. And I have to mention Shai Fishman and Yaniv Alon. Yaniv is the R&D behind this product, and Shai Fishman was the product manager. And at the time, I just interviewed him for the job at Waves, and he, like I said, not to his face, but now it's all in the open. Shai is the product definition of a product manager. Like, this is what you want on your. This is the kind of guy you want on your team, and he's amazing. But when we started working on this product and the whole Clarity series, because we now have a D-Reverb, which is also part of the Clarity series, and we're gonna have more products in. But the thing is that you could do neural network based noise reduction offline fairly easily. But to do it in real time, that was the real challenge, because there's a lot going on, and you have different networks. I can't go into too many technical details, but that's that's what it's all about, and bringing the AI capabilities in real time. That's because
that's
it's one thing to clean, to throw your audio into a network and to wait a couple of hours and get it clean on the other side. But it's a different thing to have it on OBS or something like that in real time. And, so, I'm very proud of
well, I might have
that.
to check that. I might see if I could run it on everybody's input channels. Mostly, I mean, bizarrely, Yoad's the only one who's not actually using a close mic, so it'd probably be yours more than anything else, which is a weird. Even though you're in a beautifully treated room and there's very little background noise. I know noise reduction is an interesting one, isn't it? Because it can be very sort of blunt. I mean, no, obviously, we've all used the iZotope RX suite. I mean, that's the one that's dominated for a long time. But this seems like a good contender. And there are others. It's like dynamic filtering or whatever. But this is interesting. Do you ever find you're having to clean up tracks like that? Because you get the great vocal take or the great take, and it's like if only the dog wasn't barking or whatever it may be.
Well, I was so curious then to what range of noise does it work on? Is it like anything other than the kind of instrument or the sound?
Anything other than vocals, so it could be a background noise, a continuous noise, or it can be a transient noise. When we worked on the process on development of this plugin, we were amazed every time. Like we had a few samples of a nurse in a maternity ward holding a screaming baby while being interviewed, and it's amazing. Or we had the Martin Luther.
Did he get rid of the screaming baby?
It did. It did.
Okay. Wait. Just can we stop right there? I think Bose would like to have a word. Actually, imagine real-time noise cancelling of. I mean, obviously, you need to take care of your children, etc. But wow, I mean, so if it's that real time, I mean, does this have other? It must have other implications. So if you used it in noise reduction or noise cancelling headphones, for instance, that would be which I think was perhaps what you were alluding to.
Anything that it wasn't trained on. So if you train it on studio vocals, that it will keep the studio vocals and it will take out everything else.
Right. Okay. So that's trickier. So if you're listening to a cappella music while your baby's screaming, you're fine, basically. Right. So, which is a niche. I can imagine it's quite niche.
A load of people just ripping the acoustic paneling off the walls and the studios and just putting it in a box and throwing it in the trash now. We don't need recording studios anymore, do we? You can just record in a traffic jam and it's fine. That takes fine. Obviously, I'm being facetious and joking there, but it's not far from the truth, is it? Because some of those...
together with the Clarity D reverb, I have to plug it while we're on the subject. Then you don't really need the room acoustics as well, because it will take out the reflections too.
Wild.
So, it's crazy.
Is the D reverb then, is that just trained on voice, or will that work on a mix?
No, it's for voice.
It's for voice. Because I mean, something I'm still looking for. I've tried when I've done recordings like with my field recorder at gigs and stuff, and you've got like rehearsals, and there's a lot. That's the one I'm still waiting for. Is just that being able. But presumably that technology could be applied to it. Could you, if you played?
It's a matter of training. It's a matter of the data set that you have.
So if you had a nice studio recording of like the band that you're in, and you trained it on that studio recording, and then took live recordings, presumably that would train it then to be able to get rid of everything. But
yes and no, because it will have to be the same music. Otherwise, it will try to match. It's AI it's like what I mentioned in a way. It's like what I mentioned before about modeling, because it's more of a black box processing kind of process rather than component or algorithmic. So you have to give it something which is very, very similar otherwise. So vocals are similar, especially if you give it tens of thousands of different vocals and different takes and different mics and different...
Cover the whole kind of octave ranges that a vocalist could sing, I suppose.
Yeah, but if you have a singing or a speaking voice, it's one thing. But if you have if you try to capture all the music in the world that would be played live, it's kind of a different.
Yeah,
yeah.
Interesting. Well,
very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating subject, and we're going to see more of this stuff coming along. So it's kind of, I should probably take this point to bring an ad from our other sponsor at this point, because we've been talking longer than usual, which is great. Discover the FX Bundle by UVI, a value pack collection including UVI's entire classic effects line: Shade, Plate, Spark Verb, Dual Delay X, Relayer, Rotary, Phaser, Taurus, Drum Replacer, and the all-new Opal, modern emulation of the iconic optical compressor, including stunningly accurate models of 7 different units. UVI effects are crafted to the highest standards, delivering versatile, high-quality sound shaping tools powered by advanced DSP. For an exclusive Sonicstate discount, use the code SONIC-TEB at checkout. Learn more at bit.ly/UVI FX23. That's bit.ly/UVI FX23. Yes, just to point out, they've actually given us an exclusive code because the offer stopped last week, and so we get another couple of weeks of that with that code. So do Sonic-Tab. So yeah, do check that out. Okay, gosh, we've still got actually a bunch of whole things to go. I'm just trying to think where to go next. I suppose we can't ignore
EOS
Today we be looking at Intellijel Sealegs.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh, Sealegs.
Let me just do this. Oh, you Sealegs. I was going to do Everybody Needs a 303, or do they? This is essentially another 303. I just wanted to throw this one in because, surprisingly, Arturia's Acid V is a new one. It's got, more stuff, tweakable parameters, sort of, I guess what you call it, like circuit bent stuff. It's got effects, it's got other things. Just seems like a curious thing to put out there. It's discounted to $99, and you've got all those other distortions as well. It's an interesting thought. I mean, I don't know. Does everybody need a 303? Do we need any more 303s? I mean, you could buy a Behringer TD3 for £100, and that's discounted. So it seems like an interesting I guess obviously you only got one instance then. I don't know. Have you got a 303? Sure. Do you want one? Is it something that's important? I mean, do we need them?
I don't particularly need them. I do like running a mono synth through a distortion pedal though, like my Boss DF1 and stuff. But yeah, I'm not particularly in the market for a 303, and the Behringer stuff, they've done a modded version, haven't they? Behringer did the TD3, and then they did TD3 something else. Can't remember the model name. And yeah, Devilfish. It's got like Filter FM on it and stuff like that. So I'd probably nab one of them. And then the fun is in making up your own effects chain, isn't it? Kind of being like a mad scientist. So I get a lot more fun from that essentially than using a plug-in 303. Really?
Yeah,
but it does sound nice. It does sound nice.
It does. I mean, I suppose the thing is all the examples are generally Chemical Brothers 303 sort of distort, and it's like there are because there's also the lovely stuff that I can't even remember what they're called. Left Field use that 303 for much cleaner and more beautiful sort of sounds. I don't know. Have you got any 303 stuff? I mean, it's like most monosynths can kind of get in the ballpark, can't they, these days? I mean, it's not
there's something about the 303, that acid, that resonance. There's something about a 303 though that what is it? It's a 3-pole filter, isn't it? Is that right with it? It's like
I don't know.
It's like 18 dB.
18 dB, yeah.
Oh right, okay.
I remember seeing Joey Beltram do a gig, the sort of techno, one of the like a pioneering techno artist years ago, and playing the 303. it blew my mind. He was like a virtuoso on it, and I'd always thought, wow, there's not a lot on there, so you can get really good at it. If you could, I mean, I don't know how versatile it is. It always makes me chuckle thinking about like how it was originally designed as a sort of on an organ or whatever.
Yeah, just doing country and western bass lines. Dum, 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 and then look where it ended up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's just the fact that when you push that resonance, it's such an iconic sound, and it makes you feel a certain way, doesn't it? It really has that iconic thing that is just so special. Does everybody need one? Yeah, I think you need I think you need a 303 in your life to some degree. I think if that's not a bunch of techno records with it on. But as a versatile instrument, it does its thing, doesn't it? And that's pretty much it. But what I would say,
Oscar Peterson.
Oscar Peterson.
Oh, yeah,
303.
Nice.
Excellent.
Totally lost my thread.
Sorry.
All good. I would happily lose my thread to Oscar Peterson any day. I just think that those Arturia software recreations have just got beautiful interfaces. They're very inviting and really, I love the way that they close off little bits. And I haven't looked at this one. I assume it does the same. Then that it presents you essentially with a classic 303 set of controls, and then you can go deeper with it. I'm not sure what it's got.
Yeah, you've got 3 modulators, which can be basically they're function generators. So they can be envelopes, or they can be LFOs, or they can be steps, or they can be, and 3 of those will map to all the other controls. There's also a set of kind of circuit bent type controls. I forget what's like filtered. There are, I don't know whether it's sort of based on Devilfish stuff or not. And then you've also got the tube drive, because they put a load of, they did a whole series of quite interesting distortions, didn't they? Which I think they've put those in. So you've got lots of different. So I mean, I'm guessing there's, and interestingly in the chat, lots of people are saying, I'm all about this. This is great. So I mean, maybe it's just me that doesn't feel the need for a 303 in my life. I don't know. I think it's my prejudice is not the 303. It's just I hate step sequences. I just don't. They don't compute to me. I don't understand it. I need to record in real time. I'm just not a step sequencer person, and that's what it's for. I know, Yoad, have you got any 303s in your crib there? Or
yeah, I have the real one there. I don't know if you can see it. Just here on the corner. Right. I have the control synthesis, the DB9, which is kind of an emulation of that, and I have the FET. FB838 or something like that, which I have the mod, kind of the nuke mode and the FM or whatever. But there's nothing like the real 303. But what I use it mainly, not that I use it that much, but what I use it mainly is for what it was actually designed to be, which is a bass line.
Country and western bass lines.
Not country or western necessarily, but like a beefy kind of mono synth with a single oscillator bass line, and it's so good for that. It's really amazing for that.
Is that a bit like Moog Taurus pedals? That kind of concept, the same sort of.
Not quite, because it doesn't have that sustain, and it's not. No, I think that the reason it works so well in the mix, because it's not really very bassy. It's nothing like an SH101 or anything like that in terms of the kind of brute bass that it has. But what I really like is the Prophecy, the TB preset, the 303 preset on the Prophecy, which is already distorted, or the Creamware, the Pulsar one. They used to have an orange kind of TB. I like those.
All right.
And I think that's what Arturia did here. They kind of did a rebirth of the rebirth, or something like that, because the rebirth, I don't know if you remember.
Oh, that's good. I might have to. That might be the
VST plugin ever. So what they did here is they took the 303 as the basis of so that's the least important thing. The most important stuff that they have is the stuff that goes on top of the 303, like all the different distortions and delays and all that kind of stuff. And rather than having a 303 and doing the entire chain and all that, they went and did it for you, really. So yeah, I think it's still relevant for for a lot of people, and I think that some people who don't even know what the original acid and techno 303 will now discover it through this product. So it's kind of keeping it alive, or keeping the legacy alive almost.
Yeah. I think, it's on offer at the moment. Let me see if I can find my... I didn't actually write that down, but I think it's at $99 at the moment. I think it's maybe goes to 200. I would have to double check that, but that's quite interesting because you can buy. So you could effectively buy 2 Behringers for the price of the full thing, but you wouldn't get all the effects and whatnot. So it's a different. But it's quite an interesting when you've got that kind of level of competition between hardware and software in the same market. It's quite an interesting just area, I think there. So and it wouldn't be yellow, of course. Although I'm sure you could reskin it. But cool. Gosh, we didn't get very far with any of these. We'll do Sealegs. Have we got time for Sealegs?
Oh, looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let me just find. I'm just going to go because I don't want to mess it up, which I probably will. But so if I do that and then I press, which one was it? Let me see. I'll find it in a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4. And
Today we'll be looking at Intellijel Sealegs.
Yeah, that was a big download. That was like nearly an hour's worth of noodling by Mylar Melodies, who does it in a way that only he does. This is the Intellijel Sealegs, which is based around a stereo delay core, but it's got loads of really interesting. I mean, it almost feels like it's the stuff that you would build like an eventide algorithm out of, exposing the all of the kind of the parameters and making them CV controllable, and it just sounded. I thought it sounded really, really lovely, and I'm really I saw you were very enthusiastic about this. You've got some Eurorack. Is this going to make it in?
It might do. I love the tagline. It's all gone a bit wobbly. That's fantastic. But Sealegs, oh my goodness, the amount of delays on it, like Tape, Bucket Brigade. I've got a real BBD actually. It kind of warbles in and out of tune slightly. It's really good. Yes, and then you've got things like freeze and clock and modulation on the on CV, and I imagine you could probably chuck some audio rate signals into them.
Oh, absolutely.
And you could also obviously do little subdivisions. I've got quite a nice clock divider.
Intellijels.
So just get the clock divider on various bits of it, and then just go to town. Love it. I do a lot of this kind of stuff in the software world, in things like Guitar Rig, where you can use LFOs to modulate any parameter on your delay. The thought of having that in real hardware is pretty, well,
that's
exciting.
That was one of the things about that disappointed me about the Unisynth Pro X. Actually, the mod matrix doesn't include the it doesn't include any of the effects parameters apart from the dry wet mix, and I don't know whether that's because so this kind of exposes all of that stuff. Gaz, I have a feeling you might be quite excited about this because this is right up your street, and you're forever tinkering with modular and swapping out stuff. So is this on your list? I mean, 399 is a chunky piece of change, but Intellijel stuff is nice. I've got the Atlantis, and it's really good.
I mean, and Intellijel don't shy away from big modules either, which some people prefer going the other way. In fact, I've got a really nice module from Bastel called the Basil in the pizza range, which has got some similarities to this. But I mean, one of the things that looks so lovely though about the Sealegs is just having sliders, which I think makes a lot of sense for delay-based stuff, but then knobs for the other stuff, and just plenty of CV control, and then there's a 10 inverters on all of those inputs as well. So it's a very, very well spec'd module, and 20 HP, although it's a big module, it's not that big. I've got in this rig just to my right, I've got the Eventide Euro DDL. That's going on the market.
Oh, right. So that was similar, wasn't it?
Well, no. I mean, yes,
not
that it's
more
delay,
basic.
In concept,
it's mono,
a bit more go.
It's a mono delay, really.
Okay.
Do some workarounds to get some sort of stereo out of it, but not really. No, it's just got very, very long. The approach of that one, it uses the digital. You get one digital repeat, and then the feedback is analog feedback. So that's quite that's quite a nice.
Just looking for the spec. I don't know what the longest delay is on this. I can't see.
It is.
So I was thinking,
it's all digital. This one is.
Yeah.
I was thinking that a delay pedal, like one of the Boss MD 500s, that's going to set you back probably about 200 quid anyway. So this doesn't seem to bring all of that out into CV. I know you'd lose the case. For an extra like 200 quid doesn't seem, and all those sliders doesn't seem that unreasonable.
I do like the look of this, I must admit. Yoad,
if
I know
you're
you've
really
got a
into
little
delay.
modular. You've got a modular case, and I think we've spoken to you before about this, about how you tend to use it more for processing than sound sourcing because it's so fiddly. At least as I recall. Thinking about maybe buying a few extra HP for something like this in your life, or is it just too much of a rabbit hole?
I don't have the time to mess with it, and the whole thing about having a modular is that you mess with it, and I just don't have the time. And I need something that I can recall. So I use plugins, so they're stored in the session and things like that. It's just the way it is. So I used to have a Pittsburgh delay, which was really nice. It was an analog delay, but because I have the oscillators and the filters, and they're great. They really sound really good. But I sold it because I didn't really use it, and I bought another other bunch of stuff. Which I don't use either. So there's your answer.
It's tricky with modular. It's very tricky with modular because you have to get in a little bit of a kind of, I'm going to be a mad scientist for an hour kind of mode. And if you're a busy person, then you're not going to have that time. But I just remembered I have I've got a PT2399 bass delay in my Eurorack. From Synthrotech. They do a lot of DIY modules, and they've voiced it so actually you can go beyond the comfortable range of the chip, and it just goes absolutely wild. So
well,
I
it's a bit like
kind of
what's the make noise with the Strager? That's a similar kind of thing where it's it just really it goes beyond where it was supposed to go. I should point out I've got a great super chat in from Di Stanton. Shameless plug, Rowley Cunningham on tour. Get your psych here. Don't know what any of those words mean, but I'm sure people who do will. And I should also apologise. Synthpunk, I know he made a bit of a nuisance of himself last week, but he did actually post a lot of extra super chats and super stickers, which I didn't clock. So thank you very much for that. Anyway. Okay, well, I think we might be. I think Yoad, your audio is doing that funny little USB thing, so we might just need a quick a quick reset there, so I'm sure you could deal with that at the time. Is there anything else we wanted to cover? I know we've been sort of, we've been going for some time, and it might be good to save a couple of topics for the quiet stuff, because there are a few more things. But maybe we'll do that. We've covered enough stuff this week. I mean, is there anything, Gaz? What are you streaming tonight? Are you going to do a show, or have you got anything planned that we should keep an eye out for?
Well, I mean, there's something that I'm involved in, which I'm sure many of you know about already, but Elevator Sounds having an event in Bristol, and it's a sort of, it's gunning for like a super booth type situation. It's a single day affair. It's called Machina Bristronica. It's on the 30th of September. I think there's over 120 exhibitors. There's going to be live music, and there's also going to be a discussion stage. I'm hosting the discussion stage as well. So really pleased to be involved in it. The reason why I'm mentioning it is that it's very close to selling out. So if you are thinking of coming, you will need a ticket, and it is going to sell out. So it's, obviously it's not for a month and a bit, but it's I don't know if I can say, but there wasn't many tickets left, shall we say. So I just thought
MachinaBristronica.com, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you search for
and it's going to be the range of people who are coming is astonishing, and people are coming from exhibitors coming from all over the world. So it's quite an astonishing just quantity of exhibitors. So if you're interested in that, but also the live performances look amazing. Ben DivKid is going to be doing a thing there as well, and like an all-day thing in this outdoor area. There's a lot going on. There's also going to be after party, and there's going to be a lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of cool things going on in and around it. So and being in my home city as well makes me very excited. So 30th of September. But it will sell out.
Be there as well.
Absolutely, it probably will sell out within the next week or so. So that was my kind of concern. Then I was like,
thought.
Good thought. Don't sleep on it if you're thinking of coming. Grab a ticket.
Yeah, no, good plan. Okay, so Yoad, what are you back to? Are you flipping your macro back to 5.1 and then cracking on with some massive Atmos mixes? What's going on with
more like 7.14, but yeah, something like that.
Okay, right. Well, that's good. And Paulee, I get you've just done a video, so it's probably a bit much to ask. When's the next one out? But because you obviously take time over them.
Well, I'm going to currently be working on getting Arcade Dreams finished, the documentary. Yes. But also I'm going to be I'm doing this review of the Boss GM800 at the moment. Yeah, so that'll probably only take another 4 or 5 days. And then I'll get you the footage and everything, and that should be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to exploring it more. I've had it in the studio for like 2 days now, and just playing around with it. So it's really fun getting a piece of new gear, and and digging in. But yeah, if anyone who enjoys sort of dark, weird, epic sound design, please head over to my channel and check out my new V-Synth documentary, because there's the last sort of 10 minutes of it is just sound design, so you can just enjoy that, even if you don't want to hear me talk.
And why wouldn't you want to hear talk anyway? So okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. And I think your camera's back. We should probably take the opportunity to wrap things up while we've got everybody still here. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget, and our event, if you go to bit.ly/SonicEMOM3, that will get you I think actually, if I where I'm on there, so if I go here, I think if I hit that'll just give us, if you go there, that will give you access to the tickets and information on the streams. We're fully booked. We've got some great acts. It's going to be a fantastic night, and that's coming up on the 8th of September. But in the meantime, we'll say goodbye to all our friends in the chats and all the people there. Thank you very much, everybody. That was Sonic Talk episode, what was it, 768? Wow.
768.
Think of that, 768. See you later, folks. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.